Syndication. No, I'm very excited because, you know, there was this one extreme of Oliver that we saw in season 1, and then a very reactionary version of Oliver that we saw in season 2 after the death of Tommy. And what we see now with Oliver is, we see an Oliver that understands that it's not just black and white, that there are shades of gray, and he's really back to the mission of, first and foremost, the most important thing in my life is honoring what my father asked me to do, is protecting Star City. And I feel like that has, I've been saying all day today, this certainly, I don't think is the last year of the show, but it's definitely the end of a chapter, and that is, this was conceived as a 5-year journey. So both Oliver in the present and in the flashbacks, I feel like if we do this year right, we will have the ability to then start anew.
Cool,
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, speaking of syndication, you guys will hit the 100th episode this year, which is huge and very, very cool. Can you talk a little bit about what kind of conversations have you guys in the writers' room been having about what to do with that 100th episode?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Our 100th episode is 508. Turns out 508 will be chapter 2 of our 3-part crossover. So the 100th episode is going to be the middle part of the crossover, and then episode 9 is our mid-season finale. So we're kind of designing things to be like a 2-episode, 100th episode celebration, the bigness of our mega crossover and the bigness of our mid-season finale. So it's actually timed kind of perfectly.
Nice, I like that. Emily, first of all, hi. Happy early birthday.
Good night, you ready?
Yeah. It was a really eventful season for Felicity last year. She got shot, she battled her alter ego goth self, she defeated a bee robot person.
She lost a friend.
Yes, all of those things. What excites you about the version of Felicity you get to bring into this new year?
I'm excited to explore her story this year. The girl's gonna be dealing with a lot of bottled up emotions, unfortunately. She's gonna work through them. I think we're gonna do it quite honestly, as a selfish point, I always like to play the comedy and those sort of things, but I don't think that would be totally if I just asked for playing that respectful of her journey coming out, because she's holding on to this guilt of killing 10,000 people, the lesser of 2 evils. So yeah, she's just gonna be dealing with that and hopefully doing it with a smile, but I bet you when she's alone, she's got some private tears going down.
Understandable. I mean, speaking of Paul, you know, Quentin went through a really huge loss last year. You know, he not only lost his daughter, but he lost his job. I mean, he left with the love of his life for the now. What could possibly bring him back to this town?
I have no idea. I mean, God, it's becoming a habit, losing a daughter, you know, three times now. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Why do you guys write this stuff for this guy? Yeah, give him a break. At least he got laid last season. At least that was nice. That really was the only shining light, wasn't it? Amidst the grief and good knows what. But chakras. What are these guys muttering down the panel here? Well, the Lance got laid.
We just think that he asked that he got laid. We really do, right?
Totally.
Thank you.
Totally. That was
Yeah, I paid for the whole thing.
That was the oldest relationship in the history of the CW.
Yeah, it probably was actually. But no, Lance is utterly miserable coming back into season 5, having said all that. Some old demons haunting him, and yeah, trying to pick up the pieces of lost family, his guilt and everything that's involved with that, with Laurel, and no job. I think somebody said when he picked up you and your dad that time in the car, somebody said, "Oh, Lance has lost his job as he's an Uber driver now." And I think that's the future for Lance. This season. Whether you guys ever see it, my backstory is he's an Uber driver.
The Vlad paradox changed you into a Uber driver.
I hate to break it to Paul, it's Lyft.
It's Lyft.
Okay, more reasonable. Okay.
But you moonlight doing Postmates. Let's be real.
You just help him however you can, just like us. David, I'm curious, you know, Diggle also left town at the end of the season. It's really a lot of stuff weighing on him. Yeah. And we heard in the previous panel that Diggle is sort of the one who's going to be affected by the flashpoint that happened on the.
Did you hear that?
I mean, we all heard it. You guys heard it, right? We were there. I'm just relaying information.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you tell us about Diggle at the start of season 5?
He's in Chechnya, and he's an Uber driver.
That's great. That's a good answer.
Anyway, no, he's not in Chechnya.
Why? Where did you get that one from?
Because he actually is in Chechnya.
Oh, okay.
He actually is. He's in Chechnya. He's with the special forces handling some business over there. He's still a man of two minds to a great degree. He misses the team, but he's still dealing with the tragic death of Black Canary, who he obviously he blamed himself for that. And why he pulled the trigger and killing his brother. He's still dealing with that. And we deal with that in a very, very visceral way. There's a very great scene we just shot with Diggle and how he deals with the death of his brother and his involvement with that. So he's very much at the beginning of the season, man of two minds. He's still conflicted about the events of season 5.
Cool. I like that. Well, Echo, I would like to say welcome to the family.
Thank you.
I almost said terrific. I actually almost organically said terrific, and that would have been the list. We watched you in that trailer tackle the salmon ladder.
Tried to tackle the salmon ladder.
I mean, is that, okay, so how much of what we see in that is genuine effort, and how much of it is just, for this, because it was what scripted that he wasn't supposed to be good at?
No, that thing is super hard. Kudos to Steven for knocking it out nonstop. But yeah, I think Curtis is just really like influenced by Green Arrow. He really looks up to him, and he really wants to get out there and help Star City as much as he can. And it's a struggle, and I think that's Salmon Ladder show. It's a good struggle.
And Mark, we're going to get a lot of his backstory this year, right? We're going to get like an origin story. We're going to find out a lot more about Curtis this year.
Yeah, actually, we've got some pretty big plans for Curtis, especially with respect to his marriage. He's gonna, as you sort of saw, he wants to become a vigilante, and he wants to start fighting crime. At the same time, he's got this husband at home who is gonna probably start to notice that he's coming home with all these bruises and cuts, and it's gonna raise some questions. And we're really looking forward to watching Curtis try to answer them.
Sorry, I'm just seeing John's face.
Yeah.
Bruises.
Too easy for John.
It's these two!
No, it's underhanded picture you just threw, Mark.
Yeah.
Willa, I'm curious, your character left also sort of the band. She was like, I'm done with this. And we sort of see a begrudging Thea in the trailer, sort of doesn't really want to be back in the costume. I mean, how do you describe her attitude towards this endeavor when we come back?
Well, I think that Thea's definitely gone through a lot in the last, obviously, 4 seasons totaling, but in the last season, she went through everything from being drugged by her father again, being stuck in an ark, losing her basically pseudo-sister, putting on a real cool costume, but then also being struck by this bloodlusty thing and then killing people all the time, and then stopping doing that, and then holding a knife to a little girl's throat and realizing that it's not the bloodlust doing that to her, it's actually just her. So I think she just needs to take a step back for a second and realize what's going on in her own psyche, and maybe do something that's structurally good for her and maybe Star City, which is probably helping out Ollie since he's mayor.
I feel like if you had given Oliver that pitch, as opposed to just being like, I'm gonna leave, he would have totally gotten it.
Yeah. Haven't you been paying attention to what's going on, bro? But no, I think this year she's gonna be doing a lot of stuff, helping out Oliver like she has done in the last season, but in a different way, since now he's not necessarily a mayor moonlighting as a vigilante, as you guys so nicely wrote. He is a vigilante moonlighting as the mayor at the moment. So someone's gonna need to do some duties.
Steven, let's talk about that. I mean, Your Honor, or whatever your formal title is as interim mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
What do you think about Oliver in this capacity?
What a garbage mayor he is. He's terrible. And he's terrible because he is alone. there's no team. So all of his focus and all of his energy is going into being the Green Arrow, being a vigilante, trying to stop crime within the city, and Thea is carrying all the water as mayor, basically. And so, you know, he ran for mayor and was, I guess, kind of elected as mayor for excellent reasons, but those reasons have gotten lost in the shuffle a little bit. So hopefully he rediscovers them. Because I really like the idea. I know that, you know, longtime fans of Green Arrow know what a politically inspired character Oliver Queen is. And he had a point of view, he had an ideology, and I think all of those things would be very interesting to explore on the show. So he'll have to get his head out of his you-know-what and start working well with others, which probably will never happen. So, but I like the idea of him as a mayor. Very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of, you know, starting a team, John, it looks like Malcolm is going to have some new people that he's going to start working with. You're going to be sort of spread over all of the shows. What excites you about getting to bring Malcolm to all of those different worlds?
Well, the first thing is that, you know, always true to where he was born in that sense is the character, which is this show, but he's the bad guy that I always say is a troubled hero, a hero of his own story, and what'll be interesting is to see what he is like in these other, if I can say, time lines.
He'll use
the new different Malcolms, because who's to say where he may pop up, and I'm being very cautious about what I'm saying because I don't want to say anything I'm not supposed to, but if he is on Legends, what time might that be? Where in the story there he might be, if that makes any sense? Is it the past? Is it the future? Is it the present? He might behave differently. It might be an alternate side to him. So that's what I'm really excited about as an actor. I know, listen, I've time traveled before. I know what it's all about. I know how to follow the story and put it all together. Trust me. But it sounds confusing. But I'm excited as an actor to be able to play those different things.
Yeah.
And that to me is what's going to be exciting. But the fact is that, you know, this is the core of where, and it's funny to hear Steven speak at like Oliver being the bad man. Malcolm's always a phone call away. He's always a phone call away. And good for my girl taking on the lead. Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to open it up to the audience questions in just a minute, so if you want to get ready. I solicited questions for this panel from Twitter, and
oh dear God.
And I know it's going to come as a huge surprise to everyone that the predominant question had something to do with a little thing called Olicity. First things first, congratulations, Stephen and Emily, on winning Ship of the Year for the second year in a row at the MTV.
Thanks to all the fans online who worked really, really hard to make that happen.
That's right.
9.6 million votes.
That's great. That's amazing. Mark, Wendy, when we left the two of them, they were sort of together but not together. How do you describe the status of this relationship at the start of season 5?
It's still a partnership. I mean, the way we left them in the bunker at the end of the last season was somewhat ambiguous, and we will kick them off in a similarly ambiguous state. That said, you will find out some more in right around episode 5, and I think, you know, we're just going to let the characters kind of take us where they will.
Absolutely. I mean, Stephen, Oliver obviously kept some things from her last year. There was some amazing mistakes, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about what should happen with the couple? What would you like to see? Do you like what you're getting to play right now, sort of that in-betweenness?
Very much so. We have a really dynamic scene in the premiere where we speak to each other as equals, as team members. You know, I've always thought that Oliver's most important relationship in Arrow is his relationship to Star City and his love of that city. And that is the main objective at this time in his life. I think it's pretty clear that Oliver loves Felicity, but I don't know if that means they're going to be together. But I really like the scene that we had in the pilot. Emily and I like high-fived after.
Yeah, it was
we were fired up, you know, like
it's really transformed. We didn't know it was going there, and I feel like Felicity and Oliver's communication and collaboration aspects of themselves are just getting stronger as teammates, and that's That's a good thing.
And obviously, as we saw on Legends of Tomorrow, you know, smoke technologies exist in 2046, so she's got some work to do.
A little bit of work.
Awesome. Well, I would love to turn it over to you guys, and so I think we have our first question.